Very good evening to you and welcome to tonight's edition of Primetime News on TV1, coming to you live from the Newsfirst studios in Colombo. My name is Krishan Devasagayam.
And I am Hashini Patharana. First up is a look at her headlines for tonight.
The headlines on Newsfirst.
Anguruwatota fire kills 12. Unregistered care home exposed. Director arrested. Attorney General rejects Suresh Saleh medical report. Seats specialist panel in court. Ex-Gotabaya aide meets SJP, Bodu Balasena and opposition figures. What was discussed? Why is Sajid Premadasa silent on Easter attacks and bond scam? US gifted naval vessel commissioned as Samudra Vijaya in Sri Lanka Navy. Cockroach challenger disrupts India's traditional political landscape.
And in your top story tonight, Sri Lanka police have confirmed that the fire at a care home in Batagoda Anguruwatota has claimed the lives of 12 people. The director of the facility has been arrested in connection with the incident.
Now, Kalatara District Secretary Sunanda Herath stated that the care home had been operating without proper registration.
The Senehasa Kandala facility in Batagoda was being run as a care centre for elderly persons with special needs, as well as for young individuals with similar conditions. Families of those admitted were required to make payments, while additional support was received through donations. The centre was operated by Isuru Anushka Pereira, who was known on social media as Loku Aya. He was arrested this morning and later produced before the Horana Magistrates Court in the afternoon, where he was remanded until the 11th. The fire broke out yesterday evening. Residents say the blaze, which started between 5:30 p.m. and 6 p.m, spread rapidly. At the time, 71 individuals, including elderly persons and those with special needs, were staying at the facility. Residents, along with fire and security personnel, managed to rescue 51 people. 12 died in the fire.
පුළුවන් ශක්තියෙන් මේ ඇතුලේ කියලා හිටපු අය ගත්තා කීප දෙනෙක් ගන්න බැරුණා ඒගොල්ලෝ ඇතුලට ගියා ඒකේ බැඳලා ඉන්නේ කියලා. ඒක නිසා ඒගොල්ලන්ව ගන්න විදිහක් තිබුණේ නැහැ. ගමේ මිනිස්සුත් එක්ක ලොකු අරෝවක් තිබුණා මේගොල්ලෝ. මොකද ගමේ මිනිස්සු මේකට එකඟුන්නේ නැහැ. එකඟුන්නේ නැත්නම් මෙතන සිද්ධ වෙන අකටයුතුකම් සහ කරන දේවල් එක්ක ගමේ මිනිස්සු එකතු වෙන්නේ නැහැ. තුනේ නැති නිසා ගමේ මිනිස්සු ලොකු පෙස්සමක් 100 ගානක 150 200 ලස්සම් කරපු පෙස්සමක් බාර දුන්නා ප්‍රාදේශීය ලේකම්තුමියට. ඊළඟ ළමා ආරක්ෂකයෙකුට. නමුත් ඒවට කිසිම ජීවරක් ගන්නුන්නේ නැහැ. මේක වහන්න කියලා. අපි කිව්වේ මේක නිවැරදි මාර්ගය ගෙනියන්න. ඒ වෙලාවේ ඇතුලේ කෑ ගහනවා, විලාප දෙනවා, සෑහෙන්න අමාරුවෙන් බැගෑපැත්තෝ ඉල්ලනවා බේර ගන්න කියලා. අපේ යාළුවෝ, ගමේ යාළුවෝ කිහිප දෙනෙක් ඇවිල්ලා ඒ වෙලාවේ ග්‍රිල් කඩලා එළියට ගත්ත 6-7 දෙනෙක් එවලෙත් ගත්තා. ඊට පස්සේ තමයි ගිනි නිවන රට ඇවිල්ලා ගින්න මැඩපවත්වන්න බැලුවේ. ශනිකවම පැය භාගයක් ඇති වුණ මේ ඔක්කොම ගින්න ඒ ඉබි අතුරු නොදා තිබුණා නම් ඊට වැඩිය බේර ගන්න තිබුණා අපිට. දන් වල ගැට ගහලා අපි බේරගත්ත කට්ටිය කියන්නේ දන් වල ගැට ගහලා තිබ්බයි කිය මානසික රෝගීන් ගැට ගහලා තිබ්බයි කිය කතාව තමයි තියෙන්නේ.
Relatives of those who had been at the facility visited the site today.
මගේ අක්කගේ දුන්නේ මේ තමයි කියලා ගියා අක්ක රට ගියා මේ කියලා. ඊට පස්සේ කන්න බොන්නවත් මේ දීලා තිබුණේ නැහැ. පාර අයියලා බලන්න ආයෙත් පස්සේ කියලා දුන්නේ අයියේ එහෙම දෙක් කරන්නේ නැත්තේ කියලා. කන්න බොන්න දෙන්නේ නැත්තේ අර මේ කියලා. ඊට පස්සේ කතා කරාම තමයි දීලා තිබුණ කන්න බොන්න ටික උනත් දෙන්නේ. දැනුවත් නොකර ඉන්නත් බෑ මේක බලන්න. අතපය ගැට ගහලා තිබුණා තියෙන්නේ දරුවෝ ටිකක් දඟලනවා කියලා.
After the fire, the survivors who had been temporarily housed at the Batagoda Primary School were relocated to another location today. The district secretary stated that some individuals have already been handed over to their families. He also noted that legal action will be taken regarding those whose families refuse to take responsibility. A site inspection into the fire was carried out today with the participation of the Government Analyst Department and the Horana Magistrate. The cause of the fire has not yet been officially determined.
The Fourth Magistrates Court announced that its order on the Attorney General's request to direct the Director General of Health Services to present detained suspect retired Major General Suresh Saleh before a panel of specialist doctors and obtain a medical report in connection with the Easter Sunday terror attack investigations will be delivered on the 10th of June.
Now, a motion filed on behalf of Suresh Saleh, who is currently being detained by the Criminal Investigations Department under the Prevention of Terrorism Act, was taken up today before Colombo Fourth Magistrate Pasan Amarasena.
The Easter Sunday trial.
Appearing for the Attorney General, Additional Solicitor General Dileep Piri stated that no reasonable evidence had been presented to prove that the suspect, the former Director of State Intelligence, is suffering from any serious medical condition.
On the 4th of May, he was referred to a nutrition specialist, an ophthalmologist and a psychiatrist. This referral was ordered by the presiding magistrate through the Chief Judicial Medical Officer in Colombo. However, he was later directed to these specialists through another officer. The report was received on the 18th of May. Today is the 4th of June. 2 weeks after receiving the report, they waited for 2 weeks to file this motion. Do you know why? Because the writ petition filed by him was taken up today in the Court of Appeal. This motion has been filed in anticipation of securing sympathy from the Court of Appeal, Your Honour.
The Additional Solicitor General further elaborated on the medical reports.
This is not an ordinary individual, Your Honour. From 2017 to 2019, he was an intelligence officer who handled 8 suicide bombers. According to this report, the psychiatric evaluation conducted on him was only a short-term assessment. Throughout that assessment, he was reportedly crying. Can such a long-term diagnosis be made from a short-term evaluation? He did not cry before the nutritionist or the eye specialist, but began crying when he met the psychiatrist. He says he has nightmares at night. Perhaps he is now recalling the crimes he had committed and crying. Perhaps he is afraid when he sees them in his dreams. There is no medicine for that. He also told the psychiatrist that a group of external parties, not investigation officers, came, asked him to remove his clothes, told him to stretch out his arms and assaulted his legs. He claims he is ashamed to describe what happened next. Why is he ashamed? Your Honour, is he a young girl? If that had happened, it would be understandable. All of this, Your Honour, had been said to mislead the doctor.
Pires emphasized that the medical report submitted to court cannot be accepted.
Your Honour, he should be given an Oscar. He has no serious illness whatsoever. The report itself states that he suffers from memory loss. Clearly, he has a problem remembering. He cannot recall the password to his mobile phone or his laptop. He also claimed to his lawyers that he is not allowed to communicate with anyone. But every Friday, he is given the opportunity to speak with his wife and son. Upon request, he was also allowed to speak with his mother. Not only that, he has been provided with green tea, patties, egg rice, milk toffee, Coca-Cola, fish oil tablets and vitamin C. He has also been given medical care as well. He had issues with his hearing and was referred for tests related to eyesight, dental care and diabetes. He may not have even received such care at home, yet he does not mention any of this.
Meanwhile, President's counsel Shavindra Fernando, appearing for Suresh Saleh, stated that his client had been subjected to brutal torture while in the custody of the Criminal Investigation Department.
Your Honour, my client was referred on the instructions of the presiding magistrate through the Colombo Judicial Medical Officer to 3 specialist doctors, a nutritionist, an ophthalmologist and a consultant psychiatrist. The psychiatric report mentions in 7 separate instances that my client has been subjected to severe torture. These acts were carried out by external parties, not investigation officers. He was asked to remove his clothes, told to stretch out his arms and assaulted on his legs. He says he is too ashamed to describe what happened afterwards. All of this took place while he was in CID custody. The CID must take full responsibility for this.
The President's counsel further stated that doctors have indicated that treatment cannot be carried out in the current conditions under which Saleh is being held.
It is clearly evident from the medical report that he has been subjected to torture. The environment in which he is being held in is unsuitable for treatment, and the doctors have stated they cannot commence treatment under these conditions. The report also indicates that he is at risk of suicide. Therefore, I respectfully request the court to issue appropriate orders in this regard.
After considering the submissions, the magistrate ordered that the ruling on the request made by the suspect's legal team will be delivered at 2 p.m. on the 10th June.
Venerable Tiniyavala Palita Thero has issued an apology over critical remarks he made yesterday regarding the foreign travel ban imposed on Gotabaya Rajapaksa over the Easter Sunday terror attack investigations. Here are the comments made by the Thero yesterday and today.
I
must say this. I saw a news report today stating that his passport has been banned. I must express our profound displeasure regarding that. I condemn it as a highly inhumane, very ugly and shameful act. That man was one of the best men this country ever had. What I did yesterday was simply expressing my thoughts on a humanitarian basis. It was not an intentional insult to the Honourable Court. Also at that time, I did not know at all that it was a court decision. As a monk who always respects the court, I very humbly express my deep regret and ask for forgiveness regarding that.
The people of the country have on several occasions elected governments with the expectation that those who committed serious crimes using political power would be brought to justice. Now, the government elected in 2015 under the banner of good governance itself became embroiled in the central bank bond scam within just 50 days of coming into power. In the end, none of the criminals the public had hoped would be punished were actually held accountable. Instead, the country was pushed into bankruptcy and the burden was placed upon the people.
Yes, Hashini, now in 2024, the public once again entrusted power with the expectation that those responsible for bankrupting the country would be brought before the law. Today, legal processes are ongoing. But what is the opposition doing politically in response? Now, investigations into two major crimes have now reached a critical stage. One is the Easter Sunday terror attacks, and the second is the central bank bond scam.
Well, Krishan, the leader of the main opposition party has remained silent on these key investigations.
Yes, well, normally it is the opposition's role in any country to raise its voice and demand justice in such cases.
Now, justice is being pursued, but through the legal system, and the opposition appears to be otherwise engaged.
Just a few hours since a travel ban was imposed on Gotabaya Rajapaksa in connection with the Easter Sunday terror attacks, Sugishwara Bandara, who served as the private secretary during Gotabaya's presidency, called a meeting with the Bodu Bala Sena, the Samagi Jana Bala Vegaya and several other political parties. The discussion was facilitated by Venerable Tiniyavala Palita Thero. The meeting was held at the Nalanda Rama Temple in Nugegoda. Among those who attended the discussion were the General Secretary of the Bodu Bala Sena, Galagodatte Nyarasara Thero, General Secretary of the Samagi Jana Bala Vegaya Ranjit Madhuma Bandara, Chairman of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, Nimal Siripala de Silva, Leader of the United Republic Front, Patali Champika Ranavaka, Chairman of the United National Party Vajrabe Wardana, Ajit Mana Peruma, former Minister Dayagamage, former Minister Professor G.L. Piris, Member of Parliament Ravi Karunanayaka and former Governor Maitri Gunaratna. When we inquired from Ajit Mana Peruma, he stated that discussions at the meeting also focused on the Chief Justice.
Today there is a major issue where the tenure of Supreme Court judges has been extended to exert a separate massive influence on the judiciary, while appointments to the Supreme Court have been withheld. These positions are being kept vacant. Clearly, a situation has arisen where we see an attempt to give these judges some sort of expectations so that they can get the judgments they want. Right now, a number of major issues have arisen regarding the Sasana. So today, we completed a very systematic discussion here regarding those crises that have emerged within the Sasana. Especially a number of theros who do a lot of work for the country gathered together.
These are the views expressed by Gotabaya Rajapaksa's former private secretary after the discussion.
Where in the B report of the statement taken from Azad Maulana is Gotabaya Rajapaksa's name mentioned? It is nowhere to be found. The Imam committee clearly stated that not a single piece of information provided by Azad Maulana can be scientifically proven. These are fabrications. These are made-up stories. These are fiction. Against such a backdrop today, Shani Abesekara, the master of fiction, is fabricating this new story claiming that Gotabaya Rajapaksa is connected to this Easter attack.
මේ පාස්කුවට ගෝඨාභය රාජපක්ෂ මැතිතුමා සම්බන්ධයි කියලා.
උසාවිය ඇතුලේ එන මේ දේවල් ඔක්කොම ප්‍රබන්ධද දැන් මොකද උසාවියේදී වාර්තා වෙනවා සලේට කල්ලියක් ඉඳියා
වාර්තා කරාට තාම ඔප්පු කරලා තහවුරු කරලා නැහැ.
Just because it is reported doesn't mean it has been proven or confirmed yet. Therefore, our legal team is prepared to present counter-arguments against those fictions being fabricated in court and to prove all those fabricated matters to be false.
ඒව බොරු බවට පත් කරන අපේ නීතිඥ කණ්ඩායම සූදානම් ඉන්නවා.
Views were expressed here appreciating the participation of the Samagi Jana Balawegaya in this discussion.
අද මම මෙතන රංජිත් මද්දුම් බණ්ඩාර මහලේකම්තුමා ඇවිල්ලා හිටියා.
Today, MP Ranjit Madhum Bandara, the General Secretary, was present here. I expressed my joy at seeing him here because for the first time in this joint opposition, I think he, or rather a leader of that party, attended this meeting. We expressed our joy regarding that.
ඒක ගැන අපි සන්තෝෂය ප්‍රකාශ කරා.
The General Secretary of the Samagi Jana Balawegaya left the discussion without making any comment.
මෙතන හිටියේ නෑනේ ඔබතුමා. සාමාන්‍ය සමග ජන බලවේගය මෙතන හිටියේ නෑ අපි දැක්කේ නෑ. මේ මොකද ඒකද අපි මොකක්ද වෙන්න හදන්නේ ආණ්ඩුව පෙල්ලන්නද නැත්නම් මොකක් හරි මේ ආණ්ඩුව යන කැමරද මොකද කියන්නේ පොඩි අතට දෙන්නේ සම්දානයක් කරනවා කියන ආරංචියක් තියෙනවා.
Why is opposition leader Sajid Premadas silent on the investigations into the Easter Sunday attacks and the central bank bond scam? Here are the answers given by Samagi Jana Balawegaya's Harshana Rajakarna to these questions.
එදා වැරද්දක් වුණා නම් එදා වැරද්දටත් නීතිය මේ අද වෙච්ච වැරදි වලටත් නීතිය ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙනවා. දැන් ඔබතුමා කියපු වචනේ මොකද එදා වැරද්දක් වුණා නම් කියන. වුණා නම් නෙමෙයි වැරද්දක් වෙලා තියෙනවා. සමා වෙන්නේ නැහැ නම් ඒව මම වුණා නම් කිව්වනම් ඒ එදා හිටියත් අපි මේ මතේ අද ඉන්නේ තේම. ඔබතුමාලා පැහැදිලිව කිව්වා ශිෂ්‍ය විසාරය අධිපක්ෂ රනිල් කුමාරසිංහ මහතාගෙන් කතා කරන්න බැහැ. කිව්වා අපි බොරුත් එක දිවිදිට එකතු වෙන්නේ නැහැ. බොරුත් එක එකතු වෙන්නේ නැහැ කියන මතේ. දැන් මේක වෙනස් කරලා එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂය කියන්නේ සිළුමු දෙනා හොරු කියලා.
I do not believe that everyone in the United National Party is a thief. We do not join with individuals who are involved in corruption. We work with the political party. If certain individuals have committed wrongs, you cannot label the entire party as guilty. The same level of interest you show here should also be applied to questioning and reporting on the coal issue. I can understand that you came here specifically to question me on this matter, and that is fine. But I believe media ethics should not lean entirely to one side. Otherwise, people may lose interest altogether.
මිනිස්සු බලන්නෙත් නැතු යනවා. ඒ කරලා දාලා මම දකින්නේ. සතුටාමාදදාස්සියේ හතයි හයවෙනි ප්‍රකාශ කරනවා. සිතා විදියකින් බඳුකල හොරුත් එක මේක වෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඒකවත් පුතා කියන්නේ පාකිස්තාන ජාතික පක්ෂ කියන නෙවෙයි කිව්වේ. අනේ මම දන්නේ නැහැ නේද ඒක මම නෙමෙයි කිව්වේ. අපි දැක්කා ධම්මපිට මාර්ගයේ ඔය කාලේ පොතක් කියලා. ඒ පොතේ දැක්කේ උත්සවයට අපි දැක්කා පක්ෂ නායකතුමා සහභාගී වෙනවා. ඒත් එක්කම අපි දැක්කා ඊයේ තිබ්බ නාලන්දා තිබ්බ සාකච්ඡා. ඒ සාකච්ඡාවට බුද්ධල සේනා සහභාගී වෙලා තිබ්බා. ඒතකොට දැන් මේ බලය සඳහා ඕනෑම පක්ෂයක බුද්ධල සේනා ඒකට කවුද ගිහින් තිබ්බේ? බුදුරජාණන් පක්ෂ නායකතුමා. උදේගම් මම්පිල මාගේ මේ ඒ පොත් නිරාවරණයෙන් පස්සේ ප්‍රකාශයක් කරා අපි පක්ෂයෙන් ප්‍රකාශයක් කරා නිල වශයෙන් එහි කරුණු වලට එක වෙන්නේ නැහැ කියනවා. බුදුරජාණන් සේනාවගේ සංවිධානයක් පොදුවක් එක්ක දුවන කෙනෙක්ද මේ අධිවරණය නෑ අපි කිසිම හිම බුදුබල සේනාවක් එක්ක එකතු වීමට බලාපොරොත්තුවක් නැහැ. ඒ සංවිධානයක් නේ. ඒ සංවිධානයත් එක්ක අපි දේශපාලනය කිරීමට කටයුතු කරන්නේ.
Navin Dissanayake stated yesterday that the opposition needs Ranil's brain and Sajid's body. Today, Government MP Ravindra Bandara responded to that statement.
අද එක්සත් ජාතික පාක්ෂිකයෝ කියනවා රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මහතාගේ මොළය අවශ්‍යයි මේ රට හදන්න සජිත් මහතාගේ කඳ අවශ්‍යයි. ඉතින් එහෙනම් මේ දෙක අපි එකතු කිරීම ඉතාමත් වැදගත්.
When they say they need Ranil's brain, it suggests that Sajid does not have one, doesn't it? And when they say they need Sajid's body, it implies that Ranil does not have the strength to get down to the ground and work. That's their own admission. So what this really shows is that the opposition is still unsuccessful, and they are admitting it themselves. And about this brain they talk about, let me say this. These are the same minds that said in order to recover from the economic crisis, there would be no salary increases until 2028, no development projects, and that institutions like Milko, Telecom and Sri Lankan Airlines would have to be sold. But now, institutions like Milko are making profits. These same minds also claimed that the economy had to be contracted, vehicle imports stopped and reserves to be built that way. But now, instead of shrinking, the economy is moving forward and setting records. Last year, we saw record inflows of dollar reserves into the country, and even the treasury is building up rupee reserves. We also have historical experience with these brains. These are the same minds associated with incidents in the north and east, burning libraries, rigging development council elections, and even granting a presidential pardon to someone convicted of a serious crime, welcoming him with garlands and appointing him as an organizer. So we now know what those brains are. And as for Sajid's intelligence, we know that too. He once said, if you are tall, you become security. If you are short, you become a laborer. So in reality, there is neither brain nor body.
The official commissioning ceremony of the P-628 Sri Lanka Navy ship Samudra Vijay was held at the port of Colombo.
Yes, now this ship that came to Sri Lanka from the United States was a gift by the United States government.
Sri Lanka marked a significant milestone in strengthening its maritime defence capabilities as the vessel P-628 Samudra Vijay, gifted by the government of the United States, was formally commissioned into the Sri Lanka Navy under the patronage of President Anurukumara Dissanayaka. The commissioning ceremony, held in line with long-standing naval traditions, officially brought the vessel into active service. The vessel, formerly known as the USCGC Decisive, is a B-type Reliance-class 210-foot cutter measuring approximately 64 meters in length. Renamed SLNS Samudra Vijay, the ship is designed for extended maritime operations and is capable of covering a minimum range of 6,000 nautical miles at cruising speed in a single deployment.
Another phase of the Gammadda rebuild program commenced today in Badulla for the people affected by Cyclone Ditwa. Now, this program is being implemented with the aim of enhancing their professional skills to uplift the livelihoods of those people who were affected by the cyclone. The Mindaru Foundation of Australia has joined hands with Gammadda for this initiative.
Emergency relief services were provided over the course of several days by the Sirasa Shakti Sahana Yatra for people affected by Cyclone Ditwa as soon as the disaster struck. The next step was to rebuild the lives of the people affected by the disaster. Accordingly, the Gammadda Care and Air program was implemented across several districts in the island. The Gammadda Rebuild program is being implemented as the third step taken by Gammadda for the country that is rising up again after Cyclone Ditwa. The purpose of this program is to enhance the professional skills of self-employed people who were affected by Cyclone Ditwa. Another phase of Gammadda Rebuild began today at the Badulla Technical College.
The Gammadda team tirelessly continues to serve communities across the nation, providing relief for the people whenever and wherever it is needed. Now, the project Rebuild Sri Lanka is one of the many initiatives that has been carried out by Gammadda and was previously carried out successfully in areas such as Nuwara and Kandy.
This was held under the patronage of Assistant District Secretary of Badulla, Sajid Herath, the Additional Director of the Badulla Technical College, MTR Dissanayaka, Badulla District Manager of the National Apprentice and Industrial Training Authority, Chaturanga Abewaratana, Assistant Manager of Gammadda Gihan Udyoga, Eleanor Barker, a student from the Clinton School of Public Service in the United States, and the Gammadda team also participated in this occasion.
After the Ditwa disaster hit, as a district, we had a massive number of people to look after. At a moment when we needed a lot of external support, I think Gammadda was the very first group to arrive in Badulla, and they provided us with a large amount of relief goods even at that time. The Gammadda program is a great pillar of strength and support to uplift everyone who were affected by Cyclone Ditwa. Make use of this opportunity. It will provide you with the strength you need to move forward in your profession. Special training programs were conducted throughout the day today for people employed in sectors such as masonry, carpentry, electrical work, metal fabrication, plumbing and garment design. This program is jointly implemented by Gamadda alongside the National Apprentice and Industrial Training Authority, the Department of Technical Education and Training and the Badula District Secretariat.
ඉතාලම හොඳ වැඩසටහනක් තමයි අද කෙරුණේ කියන වචන තේරෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඉතින් හරි සන්තෝෂ කටයුත්තක් අපිට ඉතින් මේක.
මේ වැඩසටහන හරියට වටිනවා අපිට. නොදන්න දේවල් ඒගොල්ලන්ගෙන් ඉගෙන ගත්ත ගොඩක් දේවල්. මේ කරන්නා වූ සෑම දෙයක්ම රටට ලොකු ආශිර්වාදයක්.
මේ වඩු කාර්මිකයන් සඳහා ලබා දුන් පුහුණුව ඉතාමත් වැදගත්. නොදන්න කාරණා ගොඩක් ඉගෙන ගන්න අපිට ලැබුණා. ඊට ඉස්සෙල්ලා නොදන්න දේවල් ගොඩක් ඉගෙන ගත්තා මේකෙන් ඇවිල්ලා. අපි මේකෙන් ලැබුණු සහයෝගයෙන් ගොඩක් ඉස්සරහට යන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා.
The awarding of certificates and donation of equipment for this group will take place tomorrow.
In more local news, let's take a look at some views expressed today in Mana by Vasanta Mudalige, Executive Committee member of the People's Struggle Alliance.
Now, a few days after being arrested, Suresh Saleh says that he feels like hanging himself, he feels like dying, and that it's very difficult and that he's depressed. We think this is a highly ridiculous situation. The reason is that after the Aragalaya in 2022, they arrested us, piled numerous charges against us, and locked us up under the Prevention of Terrorism Act. Ranil Wickremesinghe locked us up using that act. Deshabandhu and others supported it, and Suresh Saleh was also a part of it. On one side, they put us in dark rooms so we couldn't catch a breath of fresh air, couldn't feel the breeze, couldn't step outside for a bit, and left us to rot in our own sweat. They didn't even give us food and water properly. We weren't given a mat to sleep on or even a piece of cloth. After doing all of this, they inflicted that suffering on many others and on us. They planned to assassinate us but couldn't carry it out due to public protest. Yet, Suresh Saleh and his group who did this are now whimpering to get bail, making people forget the 300 killed in the Easter Sunday attacks, making them forget the 500 who were injured. They are now crying to get bail. Now he complains that his back hurts. He says he feels like hanging himself. Therefore, this is a highly ridiculous matter. This is a situation that the citizens of this country as well as state officials and the security forces need to understand very well. Politicians use you for their power transitions. They protect their own power. Just think back carefully. Almost all the officers who were appointed as Inspector General of Police in the recent time went to jail. All the officers appointed as the intelligence chief were sent to jail. Similarly, many heads of the security forces were arrested. Why? Because every single one of them stood behind politicians during every political upheaval. Therefore, Suresh Saleh was definitely involved in a political game to bring Mahinda Rajapaksa's camp to power and to bring Gotabaya Rajapaksa to power. To achieve the goal of that game, 300 people were killed. They planned to kill them. They planned to detonate bombs. They injured 500 people. That is why these investigations must move forward. So as facts are coming out of Suresh Saleh piece by piece and they are beginning to be proven, just like that song where Chanchala cries when Malik gets beaten, the Rajapaksa camp has now come together. Now facts are being exposed through Suresh Saleh. As they are being exposed and the facts are coming out bit by bit, the Rajapaksa camp is starting to cry. What is the connection? Why do the Rajapaksas cry when Saleh gets hit? Why do the likes of Namal Rajapaksa scream when information is extracted from Saleh? Therefore, it is very clear that the connection is being exposed. As information about Saleh's political game, the game connected to the regime change, comes to light, the Rajapaksa camp has now panicked as well.
A donation from the Indian High Commission was made to the Rangiri Dambula Rajamaha Viharya today.
Indian High Commissioner Santosh Jha today donated computers and a range of other equipment to the monks studying at the Sirivalagamba Pirivena of the Rangiri Dambula Rajamaha Viharya under the guidance of Chief Incumbent Venerable Dr. Godagama Mangalathera. The donation was made with the support of the India-Sri Lanka Friendship Foundation.
Institutions such as this have nurtured wisdom, discipline, compassion, and scholarship in Buddha's teachings. I sincerely hope that this modest offering will support the young monks in their academic studies and help them continue service of humanity. At the heart of this unique relationship lies our shared Buddhist heritage and common spiritual values. Today we are working with the government of Sri Lanka in various sectors, from trade to tourism, from economic engagement to educational cooperation, from culture to connectivity, and the possibilities are limitless.
The custodian of the Rangiri Tambulla Rajmaha Vihara, the head of the Pirivena, as well as the chief incumbent, Venerable Dr. Godagama Mangalathera, also spoke at the event.
Well, in international news, Hashini, as we all know now, the conflict in the Middle East has not just affected the region, but its toll has taken an effect on United States itself. The US House of Representatives has passed a measure that seeks to halt US President Donald Trump from taking further military action in Iran.
Well, Krishan, the 215-208 vote, which is largely symbolic, was successful after 4 Republicans joined Democrats in a public show of disapproval of the war, which began on the 28th of February. Now to tell us more, we have Onelka Amaratunga. Onelka?
Yes, thank you Krishan and Hashni. Now what are the latest developments in the Middle East? Amid renewed tensions in the Middle East, US President Donald Trump has offered a nuanced and at times controversial assessment of the situation with Iran, suggesting that recent hostilities do not necessarily signal a collapse of ceasefire efforts. Responding to a question regarding Iran's latest reported attack on Kuwait and whether a ceasefire remains in effect, President Trump indicated that developments must be viewed in a broad context of ongoing military and diplomatic actions. Trump again reiterated that the US has the greatest military in the world.
Mr. President, given Iran's attacks on Kuwait, this latest attack on Kuwait, is the ceasefire with Iran still on?
Well, you know, there's a reason for everything. And we hit them pretty hard the night before, and actually last night. And when it was explained to me, I said, all right, so we'll do that. But we've been hitting them pretty hard, a little bit. So there is a reason for certain things, and there's usually a reason that sometimes makes sense. But they did something, not a big deal. We got it, we nipped it in the bud very quickly, as we do. We're the greatest military in the world. But some people would say they were slightly provoked, because we took a strong action for a different reason. So they were reciprocating it. I hear the negotiation itself has gone very well, actually. Very well.
Mr. President,
it could happen. I mean, if it happens, and it might not happen, you know, who knows. But if it happens, it could happen like over the weekend.
Mr. President, yesterday.
How do you define ceasefire?
Pretty much the way it is. It's a different part of the world. You know, I'd say in that part of the world, ceasefire is when you're shooting in a more moderate manner. It's not bad, but it's true. I mean, a ceasefire there is much different than a ceasefire in other parts of the world. Yeah?
A bipartisan majority in the Republican-led House voted on Wednesday to end the war with Iran, the clearest rebuke yet of President Trump's handling of the conflict and the subsequent economic fallout. The War Powers resolution passed by a vote of 215 to 208, with 4 Republicans joining Democrats in support. Now, more than 90 days into the conflict, some Republicans have expressed frustration that the war does not appear to have a clear end in sight. Talks to end the war have yet to gain clear traction, casting doubt on a fragile ceasefire. Just hours before the vote, Iran and the US traded strikes in the Persian Gulf. Iran's Supreme Leader Mojtaba Khamenei says the US and Israel have failed militarily in their war and have now shifted to a campaign aimed at sowing internal division. Khamenei said the oppressive system led by the United States cannot accept a strong and independent Iran and described Israel as a fabricated outpost of that system. A UNIFIL peacekeeper has died in the early morning hours after mortar rounds struck his position near Marjan in southern Lebanon. The peacekeeper sustained critical injuries in the barrage. The UN mission said in a statement without indicating a nationality or who was responsible for the attack.
attack. 2 other UN peacekeepers were wounded during the mortar fire. Israel and Lebanon have agreed to renew their fragile ceasefire and create a number of pilot security zones inside Lebanon in which Hezbollah operatives would be banned, the US State Department has announced. A joint statement said the agreement was contingent on a complete cessation of attacks by the Iran-backed armed group Hezbollah, among other conditions. The 3 countries also rejected any attempt by any state or non-state actor to hold Lebanon's future hostage. The agreement was announced in Washington on Wednesday after Israeli strikes killed at least 9 people in southern Lebanon and Hezbollah fired rockets into northern Israel. Lebanese state media reported that Israeli strikes continued in the south of Lebanon on Thursday, with at least 1 strike causing casualties. Hezbollah, a Shia Muslim militia, political party and social movement, is Lebanon's most powerful group. With support from Iran, it has built an armed force more formidable than the Lebanese army and has fought a series of conflicts with Israel. It is designated as a terrorist organization by Israel and many other countries, including the UK and US. The agreement followed a partial ceasefire announced on Monday, which Lebanon said would see Israel refrain from bombing the Lebanese capital Beirut in exchange for Hezbollah not attacking Israel.
The Cockroach Janta Party was created by a youth group in India and was born directly out of a viral backlash by remarks made by the Chief Justice of India, Suryakant, during a Supreme Court hearing. Within weeks of its launch in mid-May, the Cockroach Janta Party has now amassed over 22 million followers on Instagram.
A youth political movement in India that has gone viral on social media and that has a cockroach as its mascot will face its first offline popularity test on Saturday as it plans a protest in New Delhi. The Cockroach Janta Party has not yet been registered as an official political party. However, intense discussion has sparkled over whether the rallying of such a massive number of followers around this party will impact Indian politics. Similar movements led by disgruntled youth on social media in Nepal, Bangladesh and Indonesia have disrupted economic activity and threatened political stability. The pseudo-political CJP was launched on May 16th by political communication strategist and Boston University student Abhijit Dipki in response to comments by India's Chief Justice Suryakant calling some unemployed youngsters parasites and cockroaches during a courtroom hearing. The CJP claims to have more than 1 million members and describes itself on its website as the voice of the lazy and unemployed. Through its social media handles, the CJP posts about the lack of development and rising unemployment. But the protest on Saturday will address recent discrepancies in crucial high school and entrance exams conducted by the government, which media reports say have affected millions of students.
Weather first.
Well, in your weather forecast for tonight, well, Hashini, as we all know, the weather these days has been highly unpredictable. And I'm sure all our viewers out there will also agree that at one time it's raining heavily and at the next moment it's very bright sunshine. So, Hashini, what does the Met Department have to say about all of this?
Well, Krishan, the Department of Meteorology states that heavy rains of about 100 millimeters could still occur in the western and Sabaragamuwa provinces, as well as in the Galle, Mathura, Kandy and Nora Elia districts. And we have Tinal Tilakaratna to bring us about details about this, as well as the other weather updates. Tinal?
Yes, thank you, Hashini. And Krishan, as you mentioned, the weather indeed has been unpredictable. Now, according to the weather forecast issued this afternoon, gusty winds between 40 to 50 kilometers per hour can be expected at times over the western slopes of the Central Hills, Northern, North Central and the Hambantota and Trincomalee districts. Now, the forecast further notes that fairly strong winds of 30 to 40 kilometers per hour may occur at times across the rest of the island. The Department of Meteorology also advises the public to take necessary precautions to minimize damages caused by temporary strong winds and lightning during thunder showers.
country's 2 degrees in engineering within 4 years. Be a professional in robotics, mechatronics, and electrical engineering. The next generation of careers that go beyond borders. Limited number of seats for the June intake. Call ACBT on 0117-699-499 or visit www.acbt.net.
The Chinese embassy in Sri Lanka donated school equipment and rations valued at over 3 million rupees for students and low-income families in Kalmune today.
The Chinese ambassador to Sri Lanka, Chi Zeng Hong, is on an official visit to the eastern province. During his visit, the ambassador visited the Al-Azhar Vidyalaya in Kalmune, where he donated school equipment and rations valued at over 3 million rupees.
We ultimately build a strong
Speaking at the event, the ambassador stressed on the relationship between Sri Lanka and China.
Today we have brought school bags and stationery for students, as well as food packs for needy families, which are worth over 3 million rupees. China and Sri Lanka are good friends. We support each other and help each other, just like brothers and sisters. The Chinese people have always cared about the people of Sri Lanka, especially our friends here in Eastern Province. A nation will be strong only when its young people are strong. That's why China has always supported education development in Sri Lanka. For 4 consecutive years, the Chinese government provided school uniform fabric covering all students nationwide, benefiting 4.4 million students. China has also supported digital classroom upgrading projects to improve learning conditions for Sri Lanka students. We believe that the future of China-Sri Lanka is closely connected.
Also speaking at the event, MP Dr. M.L.A.M. Hizbullah spoke on the importance of education.
Education is the most powerful investment we can make in the future. Building roads and infrastructure are important, but it is educated and skilled young people who will ultimately build a strong, prosperous nation. Therefore, every contribution made towards schools and students is an investment in the future of our country. Today's equipment distribution program is not merely the handing over of material, it is a symbol of hope, encouragement and commitment to the advancement of education.
The ambassador also visited Kiran Patiklu, where equipment was donated to the students of the new colony Siva Vidyalaya.
Sri Lanka Life Saving marked its 79th anniversary in Colombo with a special water safety training program aimed at reducing drowning incidents across the country.
Sri Lanka Life Saving celebrated its 79th anniversary alongside a strengthened partnership with Australia focused on drowning prevention and water safety training. The organisation, established in 1947 with support linked to Australia's surf life-saving expertise, marked the milestone with a special swim to survival program conducted in collaboration with Australian trainers in Colombo today.
So this is kind of a remarkable moment for Sri Lanka Life Saving because since the establishment is going forward, so we train many volunteers, armed forces, coast guard, police and the general public. So this program, the 2 gentlemen came from Bondi Rescue to train our 150 instructors across the country for this Swim to Survival special program.
It marks the 79th birthday of Life Saving Sri Lanka. It also marks the 79th birthday of Australia's diplomatic relations with Sri Lanka. We actually share a birthday here. In 1947, we first formed our diplomatic relationship with Sri Lanka, with then Ceylon. So it's really, I think that this shows just how long-standing and deep this life-saving cooperation has been as part of the Australia-Sri Lanka relationship. It's a really important part of what we do, and I'm just so pleased to see the work that's going on here today. Australia and Sri Lanka are both island nations, and so we both have an intimate connection with the water.
The initiative was described as a reflection of deep bilateral ties and a long-standing friendship between the 2 Indian Ocean nations, with expectations of continued cooperation in the years ahead.
And in sports news tonight, it's cricket, and coming in from the Caribbean, where we have good news for our Sri Lankans playing over there. The Sri Lanka cricket team have secured a victory in the opening one-day international of their tour of the West Indies.
Well, Krishan, this was the first international match Sri Lanka played after the appointment of the Sri Lanka Cricket Transformation Committee. And once again, Thilan Kirkaratna is ready with the latest sports update. Thilan?
Thank you, Hashini and Krishan. Sri Lanka launched their ODI series against the West Indies with an emphatic victory by defeating the hosts by 41 runs in the opening match played at Sabina Park in Kingston, Jamaica. Now the second match will be played this Sunday. In the opening match, Pathum Nissanka, Kusal Mendis and Dushmantha Chamira delivered standout performances.
Batting first after the West Indies opted to bowl, Sri Lanka posted a commanding total of 303 for 7 in 50 overs, building their innings on the back of two crucial half-centuries. Pathum Nissanka anchored the innings with a patient and determined 79 of 103 balls, while captain Kusal Mendis produced a fluent and attacking 72 of 62 deliveries, setting the tone for a strong total. The partnership between Nissanka and Mendis proved pivotal, steadying Sri Lanka after an early setback and laying the foundation for a late surge. Valuable contributions later in the innings from Charit Asalanka, who scored 45, and Janit Lianagi, who added an unbeaten 44, ensured Sri Lanka pushed past the 300 mark. Chasing a formidable target of 304, the West Indies began with intent, but struggled to maintain momentum against a disciplined Sri Lankan bowling attack. The hosts were eventually bowled out for 262 in 49.2 overs, falling short despite a fighting half-century from captain Shai Hope, who scored 56, and a supporting knock of 45 from Justin Greaves. Sri Lanka's bowlers played a decisive role in sealing the win, with Dushmantha Chamira leading the charge with impressive figures of 4 for 67, breaking the backbone of the West Indies batting lineup in crucial stages. Mahesh Deekshana provided excellent support with 2 for 26.
New coach, a new captain, and Sri Lanka have delivered a statement win in their first overseas assignment under this new leadership group.
And with that, we wrap up primetime news for tonight.
Thank you for watching. Take care, good night, and God bless.